let's say I'll just write sub array as well. Sub array, it's working very slow. Okay, sub array. Okay, now what we have to figure out is, should we include this in this sub array or not? One thing. Okay, one thing. Or should we start new sub array from here? Is second option. Okay, okay, so what we are doing here is, in every element, either should we include that element, right? Should we include this element in the sub array or not? If yes, we add with the current sum, or we start new sub array, new sub array, new sub array. That means whatever gives us the maximum, whatever gives the maximum, we put into the current sum. We add that into the current sum. Sub, let's see. Okay, let's see. So if we include this one, include this element in one, in this sub array, what will be the output? It, if we include this in the in this sub array, then the output will be -1, right? If we include this, -1. If we start new sub array, then it will be 1. Then current sum will be 1. So the maximum here is 1. So what we will do, we will start a new sub array, my friend. Start a new sub array and start a new sub array, and the current sum becomes 1. Right, current sum becomes 1. Now we move on. Now we check for this one. Okay, we check for this one. Should we include this one in the sub array or not? If we include this, sorry. If we include this sub array, then sum will be 1 minus 3, that is -2. If we don't include and start a new sub array, then it would be, the current sum will start -3. So -2 and -3, -2 is the max, right? So it's better to include in the sub array, isn't it? Better to include in the sub array, and the answer becomes -2. Now we move on again. Should we include this sub array in, should we include this item element in this sub array or not? If we include this, what is the current sum? 2, right? Current sum will be 2. If we do not include this element into sub array, if we do not include this, then the current sum becomes 4. So it's better if we do not include this sub array, isn't it? If we do not include, we get the maximum out of it. That means we start new sub array. Now we move on. We check the same logic again. Should we include this item? In this sub array or not? If we include, current sum becomes 3. If we do not include and start new sub array, then current sum becomes -1. So maximum is 3. So it's better to include this in this sub array, right? In this sub array. So I include this in the sub array. The current sum becomes 3. We move on. Should we include this or not? If we include this in sub array, our current sum increases and becomes 5. Right? If we do not include, then it's 2, and start new sub array, then current sum becomes 2. The maximum here is 3 plus 2, 5. So we include this in sub array, and current sum becomes 5. We move on. We check for next item. Should we include here? Should we include this in sub array? If we include, the current sum becomes 6. If we do not include and start a new sub array, it becomes 1. Maximum is 6. So we include this in sub array, right? We include that in sub array. Now current sum is 6. Now we move on. Should we include this, right? Should we include this should we include this in sub array or not? If we include, right, if we include the maximum, or sorry, if we include this in sub array, the current sum becomes what? 1. If we start new sub array, -5. Current sum becomes -5. 1 is maximum. So we, what we'll do? We include that in sub array. We include this in sub array. Yes, we include this in sub array. But we include this in sub array. Okay, -5, -5, and we keep the track of maximum. Okay, we keep the track of maximum. Now we move on. We move on. We check for this last item. Should we include this in sub array? Should we include this in sub array? Yes, yes, we should. Why? Because if we do not include, if we include, the current sum becomes 5. If we do not include the and start new sub array, then it becomes 4. 5 is maximum, so we include 5. This is how we get the maximum. This is how we get the maximum sum out of sub arrays. So what is the maximum sum? We keep track of this maximum sum. Okay, we keep track of that. 6 is maximum sum out of here. This is how this Kadans algorithm makes this problem so much easier, right? Solves this problem in very easy. Okay, we will maintain the maximum sum. This is the maximum, right? This is the maximum. I'll just this is working very slow, man. Maximum sum. So what we also do here is, whenever while we are maintaining the current sum, we also maintain the maximum sum out of here, and we return the maximum sum out of this problem, out of this total sum, out of this total sum. Let me do now. Let me write something here. What can I do now is, I don't need the sub arrays, but